Good afternoon, class. I'm Madam Lina, and today I'll be taking through storage devices. We will talk about the primary storage device and the secondary storage device, and we will know about the differences between the primary and the storage devices. So let's move on. The substrand, as I earlier said, is storage devices. So our objectives for today, by the end of the lessons, you, the students, will be able to explain what a storage device and at least give some examples. And the second one is identify both primary and storage devices. And the last one is the differences, or we distinguish between primary and storage devices. So let's move on to our next slides. And I have a question for us to discuss. So the introduction. For instance, in our olden days, or let me say in the olden days, why would our forefathers collect our receipts, our reports, when our fees were paid during our vacations? This is a question to us all. But because we are not in the classrooms, I'll try to bring some answers to the questions that I'm giving to you guys. So the second one is, where would they normally keep the receipts? When our receipts were given to them, where did they normally keep the receipts? I will say that they put the receipts in their wardrobes. Especially they have some bags, big bags, and even their traveling bags. They keep the receipts inside for reference, future use. So the second one, what happens when a computer has processed information? So back to their question, where do they normally keep the receipt and why? For future references, for future purpose. So in this case, what happens when a machine or our computer has processed information? It stores the information for references and for future use. So let's quickly go to our next slide. What is a storage device? A storage device. So a storage devices are hardwares. They are the hard devices capable of holding information either temporarily or permanently. So they stores our information for temporarily or permanently. Either the temporary will be, it wouldn't keep our information for long, but the permanently will last for longer for future uses. And we have the main two types of storage devices, and as I earlier said, that are the primary and the storage. The primary and the storage devices. So you first look at the primary storage device. So the primary storage devices are the devices that are designed to hold data temporarily and are internal to the computer. They are the internal to our computer. For instance, when an information is processed with our machines, they are the internal control of our machine. For instance, the CPU, okay, it processes the information. So this is about the primary storage device. So they have the fastest data access speed. So some of the examples of the primary storage devices are the RAM, which is random access memory, and we have the ROM, which is read only memory. So the main examples for primary devices are the RAM and the ROM. So let's take the RAM. So the RAM is a component in a computer system that serves as the system short-term memory. That is the short-term memory. So when we talk about the temporary, that is the short-term memory, and where active data is stored for quick access. It's a quick access. It's access data quickly, very quickly. And the second point is this type of memory allows the CPU, what I just said earlier, CPU to access data quickly for active tasks. So this is a typical type of a RAM. The image shown on our right side, let me say on my right side, on my interface of what I'm teaching, is example of a RAM. And we will look about the ROM, the read-only memory is a digital storage area in a computer where data is not meant to be changed or modified, is stored. And the second point is the ROM contains the software instructions that are permanently written during the manufacturing processes. And the third point is this memory retains its data even when the computer is turned off. It stores its data even when the computer is turned off. And this is a typical type of a read-only memory. So we are moving straight to the secondary storage devices. These devices are usually have the large storage capacity and they store data permanently. So this device store data for future use. It remains its data even when you're not using it. So it keeps its data for long. So that is the external to the computer. They are the externals to the computer. So we have the hard disk, the DVD or the CD, and our pen drive. That's the USB. So these images, the first one is the DVD, a type of DVD. That's the first one, and the second one is hard disk, and the third one is the USB. That's the pen drive. So this will be our last slide. The differences between primary and storage media or devices. So when we take the primary storage device and the secondary storage devices, first point the differences between them. The primary is a main memory or the internal memory, and the secondary to is the auxiliary memory or external memory or secondary memory. So the auxiliary memory determines as a future memory because the storage device stores data for future for a very long time without we missing our information. And the second point is the primary device has the RAM, the ROM, the cache memory, the PROM and the EROM. And the secondary storage the difference is the secondary storage has the HDD, the CD, the DVD, the floppy disk and the flash drives. So our third point for the difference is the primary has temporary storage device whilst in use. So when our system are running, um, whatever information that will be on the system or with whatever information that will be doing with our system, the primary storage devices has the system to run fastly and it wouldn't store data for long. That is the temporary. So the secondary stores data permanently. And the fourth point for the primary storage device, it has a volatile memory and the secondary is non-volatile. The next one is for the primary, its CPU directly access data, and the secondary storage device the CPU does not directly access data, because when storing data, it stores much data for future use, but in its processes is very slow, okay, for the secondary storage devices. And the next point, for the primary storage device, its power cuts cause data loss. It power cut cause data loss because it's a short-term memory and it's not temporary. You may lose your data. You may lose your data when, if you didn't save it for, let me say, for some while to be used, you have to store it on your secondary data, secondary storage device, so that you can have it anytime you want it. So the secondary storage to its power cuts do not cause data loss, because when you store your information on a pen drive, it's always with you. Only if you lose your information, will be in the process of, maybe the pen drive will get missing or it will get damaged, that one you lose your information. But when your information is on a pen drive, you always have it whenever you need it. So its power cuts do not cause data loss. Your data or your information will not get missing. So the last but not the one is, for the primary, it has a limited storage capacity. Its storage is very limited. And the secondary storage device is expensive and also scalable storage capacity. And our last one for the differences between the primary and the storage devices. The primary storage device is a faster data process. It's very fast when dealing with the primary storage device. And the secondary one too is very slow. It's a slower data access. So this today, this will be the last slides our for my presentation. So beginning, we spoke about storage devices and its differences, and we gave some examples of storage devices. For the primary one, we had the RAM, read-only memory, and the ROM, read access memory. That the RAM is read access memory and the ROM is read only memory. So I'll end here today's lesson, and when we meet next week, we will be having our exercise. Thank you. Bye bye. I'm done. Any questions?